Hey y'all, I wanted to get on camera and capture some inspired conversation that we had this morning. And sometimes we have some of these conversations, I'm like, I got to get that stuff on camera because I know this is going to help somebody. And so the talk today, just to give you a heads up, is about something like finding your passion and noticing your self-talk and how that impacts your life and how to change that. And I think this is one of the most important concepts for us to understand and grasp. And you may be ready for it, you may not. But I'm going to put it out there. So I had a conversation with someone this morning, and she's a CrossFit Combine member. She's an SHT person. She's seen such dramatic changes in her body composition, her health, and her performance. And we've done some meditation and mindfulness and goal setting work together. And she's just an amazing person. And the first thing that she did, we talked about was like she hates bothering me, with questions sometimes. She feels like, she can tell I'm so busy and all this other stuff. I want y'all all to know that I am here for that. That is why I'm here. I am here to help. Okay, so don't ever feel bad about asking me a question or approaching me or trying to schedule some time with me, because I am living a life of service. I want to help you. And when I help you, it is not coming from a self-righteous standpoint, like I'm perfect and you need help or you need fixing. Okay, I was telling her this morning, like I have all the same issues as everybody else. It's just that I am aware and I work with it I'm committed to working on it on a daily basis. I have dedicated my life to this. So it's like, ask me, I'm here for that. That's exactly why I'm here. I want people to come up to me, and you're never inconveniencing me. And when I point out things or talk to you about things, it's not because I'm right and you're wrong. It's because I've been there. Like I know exactly what you're going through. And maybe some things I'm relatively better than others. Of course with my food and stuff, I've been doing it for years. I should be better at it. But like all this mental, emotional, goal envisioning stuff, like man, it is deep work, and it's stuff that I'm working on a daily basis, but I'm committed to it, and I'm learning a lot as I go through it, and I have things that I want to share. So anyway, she asked me, have you always known that this is what you want to do? And I smiled at that because I was like, that's such an interesting question. Of course I've not always known that this is what I wanted to do, because 10 years ago this wasn't even on my radar. The reason that I'm doing what I'm doing right now is because I was so unhealthy and so metabolically deranged years ago that I had to find out how to figure out my own health. And when I figured that out, I was so excited about it. I shared it with my friends and family members, and they saw results, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna leave what I'm doing right now and do this, because this is gonna make me a lot more happy. I was doing insurance, man. I was selling insurance. I was the Aflac guy for a while. I was a district manager out in Shreveport, Louisiana. We had a large production district, but I was miserable. I managed an insurance agency there, and I don't know if you can imagine me being in sales, but that was just like a miserable part of my life. But it gave me a lot of this skills and tools that I use today, like with presentations and marketing, I think. But anyway, no, I did not always know what I wanted to do, and I told her, I think I know where she's coming from, because she wants to know how can I figure that out? How can I find that out? And of course, my response to her was, first, you have to find out health. You have to figure out health, because when you're healthy, everything changes and opportunities start to present themselves. And it wasn't until I found health that this opportunity presented itself. I truly feel that because I have health, and when you have health, you can find happiness in a lot of different things, even something that normally you might think to yourself is something that you wouldn't be happy or passionate about. By having health, you can find a way to be present and happy with just about anything. Maybe you rationalize or have the discussion with yourself that you're doing what you're doing to make the money that allows you or facilitates you to have a good life and travel and do all the things that you like to enjoy. And within that, you can still show up and just do the best you can and do your best and put a smile on your face and have a good time with it. But anyway, I told her, the preface to everything has to be health. And she's figuring that out, and she's doing a great job with it. And the fact that she's asking the question, what do I want to do? How do I find my passion? I think that is a beautiful thing, because most people are unaware that they're unaware. They are just living life, and they're in this freaking rut, and they don't know that there's any alternative to it. I think being in this position of being healthy and vibrant and asking the question, like, what can I do? What do I want to do, is a beautiful thing. And you don't have to have the answer, but you have to ask the question. Because when you ask the question, the unconscious mind or your higher self, or whatever the heck you want to call that, starts looking for the answers. And every now and then something will pop up, but you have to keep asking that question. And another key to that, I told her, was that you have to monitor your self-talk. Because in that little brief conversation, there's some things that she talked about, like being, she's in her 40s and she's in something that she's not happy with. And the reason she asked, have I always known that I want to do this? Because she feels like, here she is at this point in her life and she feels like she should be somewhere else, And I know how that feels. I really know how that feels. I think all of us know how that feels because here I am, I'm 44 years old. I've never been married. I don't have kids. I'm living in an apartment. I don't have a couch. I got a freaking love sack and a dining room table and a bed. And, I'm building this business from the ground up, trying to empower the planet. It's not financially viable, and so I told her, I was like, I could easily have this conversation with myself that, man, I should be somewhere else. Here I am, 44 years old, never been married. But you know what? This is the conversation I have with myself. I am proud to be 44 years old, and I am proud not to be divorced. I am proud not to have kids right now. Doesn't mean that I don't want them or won't have them, but I'm just saying I'm proud to be where I'm at right now because it allows me to do what I'm doing. I could not do what I'm doing if I had all that. And I'm proud to be living a simplistic life in an apartment where all I do is get up, get ready to come here. I spend my entire day here and I go home and I cook and I eat and I go to bed. That's a very simple, easy life. It's drama-free and stress-free, and I am proud to be trying to figure out how to make a business financially viable that is empowering other people, and I am absolutely confident that I'm going to experience all the abundance that anyone could ever ask for or dream of because I know that every bit of abundance I experience is going to go right back into me empowering others so that I can be an example for other people and show them what is possible when you experience this gift of health and freedom. And that's the conversation that I have with myself now, and that's what I believe. But there was a time that I didn't. There was a time that I was having that conversation that, like, here I am, 40 in my 40s or late 30s, and I should be somewhere else. But then at some point, with all this work that I'm doing, I noticed that those conversations with myself, and I immediately started to flip it, and I started to rewrite the script. And guess what? In rewriting the script, everything has started to change. And so I was telling her the importance of noticing those conversations with herself and immediately flipping it around. It's really deep, difficult work. It is to pay attention to that and notice what's really happening and try to flip that and fix it. So then, we had a conversation around, trying to find those conversations that you're having with yourself on a daily basis, those limiting beliefs, those negative conversations, and noticing them and maybe writing those things down, the big ones, and then immediately asking the question, like, what is it that I want instead? What do I really want? Not what's wrong, but what do I really want? And, she went into this whole conversation like, I'm in my 40s and I'm doing this job that I don't like. And I'm like, okay, so what do you want though? And immediately when I asked her that, she's like, well, I want to eventually live in a tiny home and I want to do a lot of traveling. And she started going off on this little tangent and she perked up and she was smiling and happy. And I said, that's exactly what you have to do on a moment-to-moment basis, is you have to notice that self-talk and flip it around. And what else are we going to do? Oh, so I'm listening and reading this book right now. And in this book, it's such a bizarre book. Like, the guy's verbiage and wording is just so crazy, but the principles are so solid and spot on and confirm a lot of what I've already known for a while about the conscious mind, unconscious mind, higher self, and all this stuff, and self-talk and self-programming. And he went through this example of how he said, like, everything starts with thought. Your thinking creates the blueprint for what it is that you want. And you may not know how to get there, but that picture, that idea is so crucial because that is what formulates action, and action is what formulates results. Without my thinking, it's not going to happen. And on the contrast side of that, when I think about the wrong things and the negative things, the same thing is going to happen. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I have to catch myself. The key, I am convinced, the key to life right now is being as healthy as you can, and on a moment-to-moment basis, thinking about what it is that you want, or at least acknowledging when you're not, so that you have a chance to flip that around. And the more that you can focus on what you want and get a really clear picture of what that is, the more that thing is going to move towards you, and eventually those things are going to pop up and happen. I have so many things right now that I know, I step back and I look at it, I'm like, man, I asked for that. I mean, I may have asked for that years ago, but I asked for that. I pictured that. I envisioned that for a really long time, and here it is. And I had no idea that it was going to come this long or this way. And so, if you don't know what you want, just asking the question, what do I want? it's a very freeing, open question, and the unconscious mind or higher self or spirit or whatever you want to call that looks for the answers and solutions, and eventually you start to get some clarity on things. And as an example, there's plenty of things that we're doing with trying to empower other people that it's so challenging trying to build this from the ground up. And there's a lot of situations we get into and it just seems so chaotic and we have no idea what the answer is, but we put it out there. We have absolute faith and confidence that a solution will present itself. And we back off of that chaos and we let things kind of percolate a little bit. And sure enough, boom, a solution presents itself. Things mellow out. The chaos simplifies, but it all starts with this up here, And she was like, do you truly believe that just thinking about things is going to, make things happen? No, I don't think that just thinking about things is going to imagine them into existence. But what I do know is it starts with the thinking. And the more that you can get clear on the things that you want and the more that you can focus on that, the more likely it is that you're going to take some kind of action. And in that action, you're going to produce more action, more thinking, more envisioning. And before you know it, you got this path that you never knew you were going to take, but it all started with this picture and vision that you have down the road. And I think that is the most crucial thing that we can do on a daily basis. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we had in that conversation. No, all right. So if I had to summarize that conversation to give us some takeaway points, it's this. Number one, you have to figure out health for yourself. You have to make that a priority. You have to learn to eat real food. You have to learn to sleep. You have to learn your own method of working out. Of course, we love the CrossFit Combine up here, but you have to get those 3 things figured out. And then, of course, it would benefit you to get into meditation and mindfulness because that's where you develop the capacity to notice your thinking on another level. It's a skill that you can cultivate. But you have to figure out health first. And then on a daily basis, you have to think about what you want. And I'm not talking about just sitting down in the morning and doing some envisioning and writing some stuff down. What I'm talking about is moment to moment, you have to monitor your self-talk. And as often as you can, catch yourself saying negative things to yourself, and then flip that. Like immediately ask the question, what do I want instead? And try to see what it is that you want instead. And if you don't know the answer, just ask the question. If you're trying to find your purpose or your passion, just ask the question, what is it that I want? What's going to make me happy? Because that's a very open-ended question that forces the unconscious mind or higher self or spirit to look for the answer to that, and eventually it's going to present itself. Most people are unaware that they're unaware. They are living their lives, unfortunately, and this is why we're here, because we want to help these people. Unfortunately, they're living their lives, they're in a rut, and they don't know that there's another way, and the other way is this. It's health, thinking about what you want, catching your negative talk, flipping that as often as you can, and keep in mind you do not have to know what your purpose or passion is, because I'm convinced that there can be a lot of different purposes and passions, but you have to ask the question. You have to have health to figure that out first. And I want to leave you with, I am here to help. We are here to help. My team, me, Colby, the coaches here, the people that work with our organization, the Superhuman Transformation, the SHT, we are here to help. I am here to help. So if you need help, if you want to have a conversation, if you need some time, some motivation, some inspiration, that's what we're here for. You're not burdening us at all, because we are here to help people. That's all we want to do. And we are not speaking from a self-righteous standpoint or a perfection standpoint. We are speaking from a compassion standpoint. We want to help. We live this stuff all day, every day. And we have a lot of wisdom and insight that comes from that, okay? Whew. And I think that's all I got. All right. Let me know if you have any questions.